XS Gaming Podcast is brought to you in part by RetroandLim.com, a website for everything retro, from video games, movies, comics, and even those cartoons that you cannot remember. We got you covered. RetroandLim.com is 1.21 gigawatts of pure awesome. You're listening to XS Gaming Podcast, a podcast for gamers by gamers, with your hosts Xander Scullion and James Gruesome, bringing back something old, something new, and a little bit of nostalgia too. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of XS Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Scullion, and this is episode 38. We're recording this on January 29th, and joined with me is my co-hostess with the mostest, the man, the myth, and the legend, James Gruesome. What's up, James?
What's up, everybody? Despite Sub-Zero's Arctic reign of terror upon the Carolinas, we're still here. I unfortunately still had to go to work, so I didn't get to stay at home and play games. But if you got snowed in, I hope some of you guys got to stay in and play lots of games and hang out and be warm and not in the cold.
Definitely. And we have some very special guests with us. One of our guests this is not his first, second, or third. He's four times special guest XS Gaming Podcast. I swear, this guy, it's like a baked and ice pie. And he was waiting by the window, and he was like, "Oh, what'd you cook?" But I'm joined with none other than from I Got Gameplay, Michael Burhan. What's up, Burhan?
I'm very well, sir. I've basically been on the show so many times. I'm gonna cut with that crap. Yeah, basically, I enjoy the show. I like coming back here all the time. I literally beg Xander to come back on the show as many times as I can. We're like best buds now. The first time we started collabing together, that's it. You know, we've got some good things coming on. We've got some good things starting up for next month. So I am well happy, and I love being here.
Definitely, we love having you. And our next guest, I have to say, I'm really excited to have him on here. You guys probably know him best as one of the host of All Gen Gamers, and also from the YouTube channel EMU Review. We are joined with Jason Heine.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. It's great to have you on. And we figured for this episode we would touch on something that me and James don't really talk a whole lot about, and that is racing games.
Did you say racist games?
No, racing games.
That's
Vroom,
next
vroom.
episode.
Oh, my hard of hearing self. What am I like?
Jeez. But before we get on that subject, let's talk to Jason for a minute, and maybe introduce yourself to some new listeners on the show of what you're doing, what your YouTube channel, your podcast, what it's all about.
Awesome. Well, yeah, my name is Jason. I host and produce the All Gen Gamers podcast with my good friends, my best friends, Gamester81, Metal Jesus Rocks, and Pete Dorr. We've been doing that now for 4 years. It's a fantastic show. We love it. We do it every week, and we reach a broad audience, and we're really happy to do it. It's retro, it's modern, it's a little bit of personal. It's kind of whatever happens. It's like you get a group of guys together, we sit in a room, and we just have a conversation. Sometimes it's gaming related, sometimes it's not, and it kind of makes for a very interesting show. So we've been doing that for a long time now. We love it. So we do that. And then, of course, I do a YouTube show called The Emulator Review, which I've been doing now for, I guess 5 years now.
Wow.
And but yeah, I do everything from pickups to game reviews to events to some music related things, just kind of whatever happens. It's a kind of a whole whatever happens type of a channel, but it's a lot of fun and I enjoy it. And that's pretty much it. Getting into not the nitty gritty and all that, but yeah, that's what I do.
Definitely, and we've been big fans of the All Gen Gamers. Man, that's definitely one of our inspirations that made us start our own podcast. And we had John Gamester on a couple of months ago, and yeah, it was a blast. He's an awesome guy, and it's great to have you on the show. And but we're gonna get into some gaming news before we go into tonight's main subject, and we're going to kind of discuss some things that are going on in the gaming realms. We had a news article that came up this morning about the president of Nintendo is actually cutting into his salary. He announced that he's going to be making half of what he usually makes for the next 5 months to make up for the troubled loss of Nintendo right now with the Wii U. It seems that about 20 to 30% cut on some of the employees as well. So, what do you guys think about this?
I dishonor you, sir. I think it's a good thing because anybody else would have probably been fired, and he's asking for them to cut his pay to show that he could redeem himself. I would love to see Reggie Fils-Hames do that. I would love to see him say, "Hey, you know what? Partly my fault. I'm going to cut my pay down. Let me see if I can fix this." But Reggie wouldn't. Nice guy, but if he wants to like half his 100 grand, I doubt he would do that.
Definitely. What about you, James?
I think over there it would kind of, seem with the way Japan goes, it just kind of seems like an honorable thing to do. It's like people, standing up, taking responsibility, because, I know that's gotta hurt them a little bit, to be on one of those ones that some people consider a failing system. I think they're into the amount of ones they've sold. I think up to this minute they've sold close to almost 6 million. But when you compare it to the PS4 and Xbox, just since they came out, are in the 3 and 4 million range, which is pretty close. And I mean, they've kind of gone to their own audience, and I still believe in them. Me and you, we both went in and decided to purchase that failing system, and we're enjoying it quite a bit. And I still have faith that they won't let the people down. No matter what happens at the end, I think will at least get some really good, top tier quality Nintendo games, before any super big fallout.
Definitely.
I agree with both of you. Yeah, I really think that now here I am on another podcast talking about Nintendo. If any of you guys listen to my podcast, I'm pretty passionate about Nintendo, and I'm probably the one that bashes them the most. And I do that out of love, believe it or not. And the thing is I love Nintendo so much. I grew up with Nintendo. We all did, right? So it's like I hate to see them in this state. I hate to see them not doing well. But I feel like, what the choices that they've made and the bubble that they have been living in has ultimately hurt them. Apple does this to an extent. Some other companies do that to an extent. But I really feel like it's an honorable thing to do. Yes, I agree with that completely. I feel like in America, any company in America would be like, "Fuck that, we're sinking. Let's jump ship."
Exactly.
We're
Yeah.
out of here. Take the money, take my salary, and run. So I commend them for that. I think it's a great thing. It's honorable, and I just really hope that they bounce back from it. I would hate to see them out of the console market. I think they can make a good console. They have made good consoles. They've proven themselves. I just think they need to step up. They need to, like, what was that comment a couple weeks ago? Somebody was saying like they didn't even recognize like Sony or Microsoft. I don't know. I read it somewhere. We were talking about it on the
Yeah, they
show.
didn't
Yeah,
know how the Connect worked or something, or they didn't even know about the Xbox Live. I guess
Yeah.
maybe their
Oh, that's
online
what. Thank
stores.
you, James. That's what it was. Yeah, it was the Xbox Live. Like they didn't know like the inner workings of it, like how it works and this and that, and that blows me away. That
it's
blows me away.
arrogant.
Uh, exactly. I'm like, you know what? As a hardware developer, as software developer, you're in this business. The best thing for them, and I said this before, the best thing for them to do was to go out and buy a PS4, buy a 360, buy a Xbox One. What are you guys doing? It's like that really blows me away. And it's like get out of your bubble, cut your pay, go out there, hit the floor running, and really come on, let's do this. I love this company.
the company's still profitable. This is what people don't understand. The company is still profitable. They're just making a loss on this console. And I totally agree with you. I think the one big thing that the Wii U is lacking, which Nintendo are ignoring, is online support. And I don't mean just like the freaking Wii Shop and the Miiverse. It's literal online support for their games. If they can put a free alternative to PSN Plus or to Xbox Live on their console, people will migrate. You know, Nintendo has always been the company of big thinkers, but they've gotten very arrogant since the Wii, since the inception of that console, because they sit there and go, we see this market, we'll make our own market. Look, old ladies play our console, people play our console, we are doing great. And it's not the way that they should be doing things. They should be looking at how they are going to get themselves out of this rut and how they can actually transition from this and make their console stronger. I'm even hearing mumblings that they're actually looking to work on their next console.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
I've seen that. They have like that rumor, that picture that was going around in different forum sites of like, this could be the next console, and everyone was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
But I do have to say, I mean, like, the online to the Wii U, when it works great. Me and Burhan, we'll talk on the Wii U gamepad, and I think they have a lot of great ideas. They just need to push it, and I'm on the same boat as Jason, and the fact that I love this company, and it's almost like when you see a good friend of yours that constantly makes bad decisions, but they're smart as hell.
Totally.
Totally. And they also act like a jackass when doing it. You know what I mean? It's like they don't even support you anymore. It's like they'll get into an argument with you, and you're right, and they're sitting there going, "Oh, we don't have to change up nothing." Yeah, you do. You really, really do.
Yeah, you have to evolve. You have to look at it, and if you're successful with something, you have to evolve and grow even more, I think, because you have to take it to the next level and do better than that. And it's like, wow, got to pick that up.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are throwing what I call the Nintendoom flag, but it's still such an early generation, and I mean, I know the Wii U's been out for a year, but now with the PS4 and the Xbox One out, I feel like the competition train is really starting to roll, and I'm really excited about it. I wish all the systems the best of luck, because I really think with that competition, we're going to get some great games. And I know, with the Wii U, they're releasing, the new Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers. There's also, I don't know if you knew this, Jason, but there's actually leaked footage of an Easter egg in Donkey Kong of Samus's airship.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's floating around on some of the websites. So they're kind of looking at that as kind of like maybe there's another Metroid coming, and I think
Smartest thing they can do.
Yeah, I think that would be great if they came out with a new Metroid, and a pipeline dream would be like a new 2D old school like Super Metroid. Like that's what I would really really like to see.
That's one that I agree with y'all. The Metroid, they need to put it out. It's one that, a lot of the people that have the Wii U are Nintendo faithful, and that's the title they want. And the thing is, a 2D one or, 2.5D one I think would be great. Or if they went ahead and just went all out and did whatever style they wanted to do on the Wii U, and then gave us the more old school style on the 3DS.
Yeah. I mean, 3DS is doing great. It's such a great handheld console. I mean, I really feel bad for the Vita, and I really wish the Vita TV would just come over here, because I really think that would I've talked to a lot of people, and that's what would make them buy a Vita. Weirdly enough, a lot of people were like, if this Vita TV comes out, I definitely want to get a Vita. So I don't know. Yeah, I think Nintendo has a lot of growing up to do. I think that's the best way to put it.
As a company, they do. They've got, in a sense as well, I think they're very old school in their approach of things. they're still back in the time where Nintendo could tell people not to develop for someone else. I remember, I think I spoke about this before, and I got gameplay where Nintendo would literally go to developers. They still in that mindset where Sony and Microsoft will go to developers and say, "Hey, we want you guys to develop for our console. What can we do to help you?" Where Nintendo would go, "Hey, here's a console, make games."
Yeah.
And this was coming from the chief of Bethesda, the head of the company. Was talking to GameSpot at the recent CEX Expo, and he was basically stating that that's how Nintendo approached them. You can't do that. You can't say people, we've got a console. You've got to basically have them say, hey, what can we do for you? Because if you're going to be like that in terms of your approach, then of course the company's going to suffer. And of course people are going to just sit there and go, you know what? You're not worth our time.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, the this new generation's still very, very young, and I think with, of course, the internet, I think a lot of people jump to conclusions, and some people, really don't like Nintendo and just want to see the world burn. But I'm rooting for all the companies, and I mean, other than that, I haven't really seen anything else with gaming news. I think that was one of the big stories that came up this morning, and I believe there's also going to be another Nintendo Direct coming up very soon, so we could get some more answers to what we're all kind of conjuring up in our head of the future. But I think our main subject that we're going to be talking about is racing games. Like I said, this is something that we haven't really had a chance to really talk about on the show, and I was almost unsure about it, but I knew that when I came up with it, I knew that Jason would be a great guest for it because it's one of your favorite genres.
Oh lordy.
And actually, you've gotten some collaborations just under your portfolio recently of some racing games. If you want to tell the listeners about that.
Oh, the one I did with MJR.
Well, that
Which one?
one, that one in the Steam game.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, Motor Rock you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, and you know what? What's sad about it is that the game's not available right now, and I'm really like I'm holding off my review. I'm holding off like really talking about it because I want it available for people to buy. So, but I'll go over it just briefly. It's a game called Motor Rock. It's done by a developer out of Russia called Yard Team. A kind of a small group of guys, indie guys. They're fantastic, and they basically created a rock and roll racing style of game. It's the isometric, also behind the car as well. But if any of you guys played Rock and Roll Racing on the Super Nintendo,
Yep.
or a great old school game, they pretty much did one like a HD remake is what it is. Um, so they released the game. It came out. It's very successful. It's been doing well. And then I got pulled unfortunately because they did lift the voice from the original game and used it. And I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to speak for them, but
yeah,
they got in trouble for it, and the game got pulled off Steam, and so they're trying to work out the logistics to come back and bring it back to Steam. But as it relates to me, I sat down one day and I thought, well, what the heck? The voice is gone. I was like, the files are still in there. Why don't I just make my own voice for it and implement it in the game, just for the fun of it? I usually will do that on like free to play like racers and shooters. I'll go in and make my own sounds. Just I've been doing it for years, and it's just fun as hell to do. So I did that, and I did all the different sound effects and all the different little voices, and it was fun. And I went on their community hub and released that to everyone. I said, here it is. It's free to download, whatever. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Well, the developers got on there and they're like, wow, it's really good. We like it. We'd love to use it. Get in contact with us. And one thing leads to another, and now it's full-fledged implemented in the game. It's been patched and updated to support it, and so it's really cool to have gotten a voiceover gig, for an indie game there that's available on Steam. Hopefully they bring it back, but
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
it's a great little game, and I'm really thrilled and happy to be part of it. Like I said, you really don't know who's listening to the stuff that you do. So no matter what you do out there, always put your best foot forward, folks, because you really never know, and it's a really cool experience. So
I
I'm happy.
know I know that had to be like a almost like a surreal moment though, that someone would be like, "Hey, I really like the way you did this," you know?
It really was because not only was it like like the director, the guy who is there's two guys, there's a programmer and a couple other guys, but like it was him who was like, yeah, I like it, and you know hey, get in contact, let's discuss this, and we ironed it out, and it was very surreal because not only is it cool to be a part of it, it's cool to be a part of that game. I mean, I grew up with rock and roll racing. Like I fucking remember going and buying it. I remember it. It just trips me out. So um, I just hope that they get their stuff resolved, and I hope that it comes back on Steam. It's some indie games are hit or miss. This is actually a really good game, so I hope that things get it fixed. I don't know if any of you guys seen gameplay
Oh yeah, I
of it.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's really really cool, and people are posting videos about it, and I haven't done an official one yet because I'm just kind of waiting for it to come back because I really want to help promote it for these guys, and hopefully they make a ton of money with it.
Well,
Exactly.
if Warzy got back on Steam, I think this would get back on easily. And Warzy was a pile of crap. They ended up basically threatening people. The company was treating people badly. So I think it'll be fine. I think they'll be able to get it back on there.
That's a very
Fingers
good
crossed.
point. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, they had a whole bunch of problems with that, didn't they?
Yeah, and it got pulled down. They said they were going to tweak it, and they didn't. And they came back without any issues.
Yeah, wow.
So I don't see a problem. I think they'll be totally fine. They'll just probably have to resubmit it, make sure that whatever the problem was has been resolved, and they'll clear it.
Right, right. Which it is, I mean, unless, Blizzard's gonna go after him for anything else. I mean, that was really the big thing. And, even him, he told me, hey, part of the problem is that the voice, and with you doing this, you're pretty much correcting that for us, and that that feels really good to be kind of not really the cause of it, but in a way, allowing it to come back. I just hope they iron it through and move
Oh
forward
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, definitely. And well, I'm gonna go and like we're all gonna gather around in a circle here, and we're gonna talk about
Marshmallows.
yeah, our favorite marshmallows. We're gonna, we're gonna talk about our favorite racing games, and
Oh, Jesus.
I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's those damn favorite questions. I hate those, man.
yeah, because once you blab it out of your mouth, like eight more titles pop in your head, you know.
It's true.
But I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Burhan, and tell us one of your favorite racing games of all time.
Favorite racing game of all time? It actually has to be Mario Kart. I'm a huge Mario Kart fan because I'm so good at the game. It's one of those games where I can beat anybody. I know the shortcuts. I love the original for the SNES. Love the Game Boy Advance version. Huge fan of Double Dash. It's Mario Kart all day, all the time.
Awesome. What about you, James?
Me, I'm gonna go back with mine because like I think the racing game was kind of like a natural progression from playing with like little matchbox cars as a kid, and the little slot cars. So you move on to video games.
Dude,
And
totally.
one of my I think maybe the first one I kind of remember maybe ever playing was possibly Pole Position, but on the Atari 8-bit, and I think it was also on the Commodore and Coleco. It was a game called Pit Stop. I believe it was made by Epix Games. And the thing that was cool about this, it was kind of a slightly overhead behind view. You're going around the track just like normal. But as time would go on, you'd have to pull into the pit. And then you could control the guys, and they would come over and have to refuel your car and change your tires. And I thought at that time that was like amazing to me. That seemed really advanced. And it's like, man, you got to repair your car. Your tires get worn out. And it was just like that was my favorite part actually, was going into the pit, not the actual racing. But it's one, and I haven't played it in it's probably been over 20 something years since I've played that one.
Well, I mean, this the fact that you remember it so vividly shows that it was a good game.
It is those Atari 8-bit games, man. They stuck with me. Some good stuff.
What about you, Mr. Heine?
Oh my God. Um, I agree with you, James. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, the racing genre is kind of an evolution of, when we were younger playing with the Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars, and then, we move into the video game world. But um, for me, it's one of my favorite genres of games. It's really hard for me to answer a question like this, and just to not spend an hour trying to figure it out, I'm just going to talk about the very first racing game that I can really remember playing was on the Atari 2600, and I played Night Driver. And
Ah,
I don't know if you guys ever played that one, but basically it didn't even look like a car. I don't know what it was, a blue blob at the bottom of the screen, and you just had basically colored poles on the left and right side, and it was just a black screen. But what was neat is that it had one of the first analog controls with the paddle. You used their analog paddle for steering. It was incredible. Um, when I first played it, I sucked at it. I couldn't even drive in a straight line. I actually hated the game, and I put it away for many years, and then came back later as an adult, and now I love it. I just own the game. I love it. It's so much fun to. It's like a puzzle almost, navigating your car through the course, and is there actually a pattern if you can figure out the pattern and memorize it in there, which is a lot of fun. But that was the first game I ever played. But really, some of my favorite ones. I mean, Virtua Racing. 91 from Sega. That's an incredible flat shaded polygon racing video game that has a very sweet spot in my heart. I have a fetish for that flat shaded polygon games. I really do.
now
I love it.
which version do you like better? Do you like the Sega Genesis or the 32X?
The arcade version,
Oh, the arcade.
definitely.
Cool.
But if I had to pick, if I had to pick, dude, come on. They're both, all the ports are the same but a little bit different. They all offer a little something special. I like the 32X port. I don't
Yeah.
mind it, but I don't mind just the regular Genesis one either. They crammed so much into that cart and tried to do so much with it. I feel like they did a fantastic job with it, and I do like it.
Didn't they come out with like a newer version where they cleaned it up on like the PS2? Like didn't the PS2 come out with like this it was like a Genesis compilation?
It is, yeah. You're
Yeah.
exactly right. That is a wonderful game. I recommend everyone go out and buy it. It's the Sega, Sega Classics. Hold on, I gotta find it now.
It's not the Sonic Gems one, is it? Or the
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
should know this. It's Sega. No,
Mega
it's not
Drive
the Classics.
Classics Collections, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's it. Sega
Yeah.
Classics Collection, and that has Outrun, Golden Axe, Virtua Racers, Space Harrier, Fantasy Zone. It's got a bunch of just classic Sega games. But yeah, so 3D Ages is who took it and cleaned it up, added a few extra courses, added a few extra cars, and that actually is going to be your best home port of that game if you ever want to get into it. That really is about arcade perfect minus the controls. They're definitely floaty, but it's a wonderful port. I love it. I'll sit and play it for hours. I just can't stop.
And you won't stop.
I won't. No, absolutely not. There's no reason to. Fuck life. It can just go. It can go away. Virtual racing.
Work? Fuck work. Who needs to pay the bills?
Really? Yeah. Screw that. So that's there's hundreds and hundreds of racing games that I enjoy, but those are some of my earliest memories of them. I grew up in the arcades, so when you go to the arcade, you're there for 5 minutes to all day, right? So it just depends, right? You want to put a few quarters in and do a quick race, do a quick fight, and move on. You only got a minute. So I'm into those type of games as I play now. I like shooters. I like racing. They're quick, high action, best bang for your buck, and then we move on. We can come back at any time. That's what I like. So very partial to the racers for sure.
And the thing is, when you brought up arcades, You brought up a good point in the fact that there's not really that many arcades around anymore, but when you do find an arcade, 9 times out of 10 the racing genre is still, thriving. There's so many more racing games that are still out in the arcades. Like I went to like this one place called Jungle Rapids where I'm at, and it's almost like a like Chuck E. Cheese type of place, and they had this new Batman racing game where you could actually pick the different Batmobiles, like from the '60s to like the Dark Knight, and
Does it have a sit-down cab in it?
yeah, and you could sit there and like it was like me and my buddy Devin, my drummer. He was like sitting beside me. We were and our machines were linked together, and we were like two different Batmans, driving through Gotham City, and like the steering wheel had like a firing button and a missile, and oh my God, I mean
That
it's just.
sounds pretty crazy. And that's a really good thing. Like you said, you were playing with Devin. The thing is, like going to arcades and those racing games with friends, whether it was super off-road, I remember it was one of the earlier ones that, a lot of people could sit and play to up to, I remember the Rush games.
Oh
And a friend of
God.
mine worked at the arcade. So we'd all sit there, get the free games. And I remember just sitting there, playing Rush and, learning to cut people off and making each other red,
Rush.
just being jerks, man, just really a good, multiplayer, good time with friends and, which can extend up to even like, the Mario Kart and stuff like that at home. Racing games can be cool by yourself, but, nothing beats playing with a bunch of other people.
Oh yeah, I mean and that's one thing I do love about Xbox Live and PSN is like since the arcades are kind of dying out, we still have that, we still have that arcade feel, definitely.
I'd like a two-player Excite bike.
That would be awesome. That would be really really cool.
That's what
It's a
needs to
funny
be on
thing
Wii
though with
U.
that. It's a funny thing when it comes to like consoles and stuff as well. I found all the arcade classics that I used to play. I can find them now on Xbox Live. Like the Simpsons arcade game and the X-Men arcade games and stuff like that. And even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game when that was on there.
Is Pit Fighter
Uh,
on there?
no,
No.
Pit Fighter is just terrible. That game you needed action replays to complete.
No, I could beat Pit Fighter on my
You
own.
could beat Pit Fighter.
I
Bloody
did
heck.
in my younger days. I beat Pit Fighter on the Super NES.
Damn, James, you're awesome.
Oh God, that was a crazy game, Pit Fighter.
Yeah, it was one of those games where you wouldn't know how to sort of deal with it. They tried to make it kind of like Mortal Kombat, but it was kind of Mortal shit that. It had no idea how the game was working or what we could do to actually play with it.
But it sure
And
was fun when I
oh,
played it. I
so
remember
fun.
going
Huh.
back now though, the memories are, better left in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. And the graphics back then were phenomenal, to say the least. And the arcade at least. I mean, Pit Fighter had like that that like
Oh,
Digitized
realistic.
awesomeness.
Don't even bring up Pit Fighter. Jesus. Seriously though, I mean that is like honestly, if you had put it together like a top one list of the worst games ever for Super Nintendo,
Oh yeah.
you better put Pit Fighter on there.
Well, one of my racing memories, of course, pole position is definitely that game that comes to mind because I mean, like when you're a kid, that was one of the most attractive arcade cabinets. I mean, you're like walking by, you're hearing the loud noises, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna jump in this car and like race around. But one of my biggest ones was when I was a little bit younger and I used to go to like a summer camp, like it was like a boys and girls club type thing. Uh, one year they decided they were like, hey, you know what? Let's get a couple of arcade cabinets in here. And they brought in three arcade cabs. They brought in Toki going ape spit. If you guys remember that game, it was most famous from Nick Arcade. If you guys remember that show.
Oh yeah, Nick Arcade, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Togi Was that on a port? They
I don't know
ported
if we
that
had that
what to
over
like NES or something
It was on. It was on.
or
Yeah, it was on the
Genesis.
NES and the Genesis, and I still love that game. But they had Toki, they had Mortal Kombat 2, and the last one was Super Hang On, and it was the cabinet had the handlebars to the motorcycle, and oh my gosh, I remember we that it didn't last long. The arcade cabinets did not last long because kids were like slowly but surely like not going outside to play basketball or go to the pool or play ping pong. It was like starting to just migrate to these three arcade machines. It was like it became like a mecca, and like kids were like taking their lunch money that their parents had given them, and they were like, "Well, we're just gonna cash these in for quarters." So the arcades only lasted for like I think like 3 weeks before they took them out, and they're like, "Here, play some basketball. You kids need to quit doing this." But yeah, Super Hang On. Oh my God, that I love that game. I love the soundtrack to it. And when I finally got a Sega Genesis, when I was a little older, it came with the Sega six pack, and that was one of the games that was on it was Super Hang On, and you can actually play Hang On and Shenmue as well, and that was a lot of fun.
The great arcade in Shinmu. I remember that. I love seeing that in games when they give you a couple little bonus games in there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And if you guys could bring back a racing series that's been forgotten, what would you guys want to bring back?
Racing series has been forgotten. That's a tough one.
Or I don't really want to say forgotten, like maybe a title we haven't seen in a couple of years.
Like
That
Rad Racer.
Oh man, yeah, that's a great game.
I would well like I said earlier, like an Excite bike, it's still kind of in the racing thing.
oh definitely.
Like I said, honestly a two-player Excite bike would be really cool. They did one on WiiWare that was a newer version of Excite bike. It was pretty good. I don't think it had a two-player function on it, but I mean, Rad Racer would be a cool one just on name alone. And I mean, I remember when I really enjoyed the nighttime levels playing that game. It just the graphics always on it just looked like really cool. So, I'd kind of mark out a little bit for just Rad Racer, just on the name. It'd just be cool for that to come back.
That'd be a really cool game on the iPad.
Yeah,
You
that
know
would
what I would
actually
love
be a
to see?
perfect iOS one. Yeah.
I'd love to see Carmageddon on the consoles, but turn it to Carmageddon kart racing. So instead of using cars, I'll be using carts and destroying zombies. That'd
Right,
be
like
awesome.
simplify it, make it just that's all it's all about. You just drift and slide through zombies and shit.
And kill grannies. You got to kill a few grannies.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Take that, Aunt May. Ah,
These cookies are terrible.
and what
I,
we
I
can
def-
do as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm gonna change the subject.
Oh, okay. No, I'll say as well. Instead of like equipping, that Mario Kart style. Instead of equipping like silly weapons, you equip like guns, and you can just like gun people down with it. Okay, I've got a twist in mind.
Oh, I like where you're going with this, like a Grand Theft Auto style, like one guy hanging out the side and just Uzi, just spraying.
Ooh, Grand Theft Auto Kart. That would work.
There you
Yeah,
go,
we just bring back Road Rash for crying out loud.
dude. Amen. Yeah, absolutely.
I
That's
love the way
something.
you can
That's
kick people off that bike. It's just like, yeah, like the freaking Swift kick.
Just hit him
really
in the
like you just
face.
big ass boot, just
That's what I do
Chained
with
to
my
your
son all
dome.
the time. Me and him like raced our bikes. He's on his little bike, and I just kicked him. He cried a
Yeah,
little
that
bit, but still.
series needs to come back.
And
Yeah,
I was
thanks
like,
EA.
that's how we do it. Road rash.
what would be cool is if they brought back Road Rash and they kind of added like a two-player co-op where like you could have someone that sits in the little side cart. You know what I'm talking about in motorcycles? Like you'd have someone
Yeah.
sitting in the side like cart and they could like they could use the artillery for like long range attacks, and then when like the motorcycle gets closer, that's when the person that's driving the bike could use like the chain or the baseball bat. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be good.
Shoot the
Little co-op
sidecar off
action.
for like a full-on attack.
Yeah.
See, why
And
don't they
have
hire
puppy
us to make these games? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they do listen.
We put
You
some
never
weird
know who's
shit now. I can
listening.
just tell. I bet some from Nintendo's listening. They always listen.
Well, one series I would love to see bring back, especially with the PS4, Jet Moto.
Yeah.
Why haven't they done anything with Jet Moto? I mean, you had Jet Moto 3 and they didn't even make a Jet Moto for the PS2 for crying out loud. I mean, I thought Jet Moto was freaking awesome. It was like a science fiction, you know, jet racing game, jet skis.
Yeah, that hover. I mean, it's like there's the ingredients are there, and I actually talked about this last year. Jet Moto needs to come back. I think it's an untapped game franchise that would really do well on the PlayStation. Really would.
It would look beautiful too. I mean,
Oh,
and,
for sure.
and of course, while we're talking about, Wave games, you got Wave Race needs to come back on Nintendo.
Oh, now you're taking mine. Now you're taking mine. I better say 'em before you spill the beans. Yeah, we need a wave race back. Absolutely, Nintendo should do that. But F-Zero all the way. I mean, F-Zero
Yeah.
and game over. I mean, that's it. So
I would love a F-Zero for the Wii U. Like, have those freaking tunes pumping out in HD.
really,
That's just
really.
awesome.
And
That'd
then
be
like on the
brilliant.
gamepad, you got the mini map or the position or who knows. There's so much potential with like a racing game with the Wii U. I think there's so much that you could do with the two screens there.
Yeah, for me, I would say as well that you could have like on the tablet boosts. You could get like extra like boosts and add-on items and stuff where you can just select them from the tablet. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I think F-Zero is one of those titles that's right up there with Metroid that everyone's kind of really wanting.
One of those ones that
Nintendo.
kind of has to come out, there's certain ones that it's like they just really have to give people at some point.
I mean, we haven't had a F-Zero since the GameCube.
Right. Yeah. GX.
Very much.
I mean, that's almost. I mean, that's over like what 10 years now. So I mean,
I'll tell you what it is. Can you cuss on this podcast? I'm sorry.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I have a filthy mouth, but it's
Nah,
bullshit.
it's cool.
That's what it is. It's absolute
Xander
bullshit.
has a filthier mouth, trust me. The things he says, we have to put a swear jar just for Xander.
It's a cookie jar, actually.
Yeah, it's like if he swears, he gets a cookie.
Oh damn. I hope my jar fills up quick. But yeah, I think I just don't think it's right. I think they have great even on the Wii, you guys. I mean that was a platform that could have been great. I don't know if you guys ever played Excitebots or Excite Truck, but I mean those games are fantastic, and the motion controls worked well with it, and they fine-tuned it with Excitebots, and that game did online well. It looked good. It had tons of maps, tons of vehicles. It was unique. I just think you guys can do this, and you should be doing this. So let's bring F-Zero. Let's do it.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly because they've just basically not been bothered in terms of utilizing their properties, which is weird because Nintendo now are on the verge of licensing their properties to outside studios in order to sort of entice them in, like the whole Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule aspect. I think that would be awesome for them to license out some of their like properties like F-Zero and have like a real sort of sports gaming company, like someone who's experienced with these driving sims and stuff, have a crack at it. Like Namco would be awesome to have a shot at that.
Which Namco and Nintendo's worked before with the Mario Kart arcade game.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
Namco did port that. Yeah, they made that.
so it wouldn't be unfamiliar ground. So I mean that's always a possibility.
That game was such a waste of change, though. It's like even if you completed levels, you'd have to put another quid in.
I never played that. How was that?
It's literally I'd play it the same as Mario Kart. You had a steering wheel. I would get first place. I'd still have to put another coin in, regardless. It would literally be like, what was that? That Sega Saturn game. What was it called? Virtual Racing. When even if you complete a level, it would just come up with game over. And it would literally have that. You would have to go put another coin in and then select the next track. So you'd keep popping in coins in order to complete the game. I think I got to the end. Never completed it though.
When you mentioned Sega Saturn, though, it reminded me that Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast had so many great racing games.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, you had like Cruisin' USA on the Sega Saturn was awesome, and Daytona and like freaking Dreamcast had one of I know this is Jason's favorite, Hydro Thunder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hydro Thunder. Yeah, I mean that's a great, that console, like the Dreamcast, during that era, I mean they were releasing arcade games that used similar hardware at the time. So, you can get, and that's why I love so much about the Dreamcast is that you can get pretty much arcade perfect ports. Hydro Thunder, there was their truck one, what was that? Something
The eight,
Off-Road Thunder or something.
I hear there was
Uh,
an 18-wheeler game that was actually really good.
Yeah, 18 wheelers. Yeah, that's on that console. It's very good. So, there's a lot to be had on that console for sure. Very, very sad that it's, not around per se, but sure do love it. People are still making games for it, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
nice. The indie scene is great.
yeah,
Still
and
making them, still playing the games. I have a couple actually Japanese racing games on my Dreamcast. Don't know what they are really though.
well, they did you guys ever like take part in those racing games where it would like keep your information in the system like because when I was out the other weekend when I was playing that Batman game there was a game very similar to like Hydro Thunder but it had like a telephone dial like little
Oh
dial
yeah,
pad and you would like it was like put in your code and like it would actually like save your stats and stuff. Did you guys ever do that?
absolutely. I do all the time, actually.
Was that
We got
game
some.
sponsored by the NSA? Just wondering.
Yeah. Please
Put in
enter your
your
social
address.
security number.
It's like here, let me just get a retina scan, and we'll give you a new stats for your
DNA sample. Here you go.
Right. As you sit down, we'll take an ass sample of you.
Mm.
We're just taking a blood sample. It's all kosher. Xander's just sitting there going, I need a cookie.
I just start cussing.
A cookie just pops out of the side. Here you go. Thank you. Come again. What? But yeah, what you're talking about is those. Yeah, it saves your game, and what game you're probably talking about is H2 Overdrive.
Yeah, that's what it was. That game was fun.
Hell yeah, man! It's awesome. I got a local arcade here that has two of them linked up, and I made a little pin and saved my stats in there, and I've gone through and leveled up my boat and maxed it out and upgraded it, and so whenever I go back to that arcade, I just can just rip people apart. It's great. It's a lot of
It's one
fun.
of those things wish they would have had, 25 years ago.
Really, right?
Capcom
They
used to do
tried that.
today. Yeah, Capcom had something similar where they had this sort of like card that you put into the arcade machine so it could save your scores and stuff for when you take home.
I know Neo Geo did that. Definitely with the home console, they had the memory card that you could put into the arcades and
It's like, why would you go play in the arcade if you had it at home?
for bragging rights, man. We didn't have all the online play. I mean that was
That
arcades.
was the online play. Yeah.
That was the stomping grounds. God, man, I really miss those days because I was a lot younger back then, and I was mentioning this in a YouTube video I did. I was talking about rental memories, and I was talking about how sometimes the arcades were kind of shady,
Oh,
and
shit, yeah, man.
and I was like 7 or 8 years old, so I wasn't left by myself going to some of these arcades.
Dark and dimly lit.
They were, man. They smelled. Some of them were, a place where fights would break out. People would go there to fight. I mean, they really were kind of a shady place. And when you have two people, right? You have two people playing against each other, in person. It's a little different when it's online, right? You're not face to face. You can talk all the shit you want, but when you're in the arcade, man, and you're playing a fighting game or a racing game or something, and you beat the other player, there's tension that happens. And I've seen many fights break out at arcades. I've seen people get thrown out. I've seen people on the ground rolling around and their buddies. Usually you have your crew with you. It can be a real shady place. Just to touch up a little bit of what you're talking about there on the arcades is, yeah, it can be a very shady place.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't go to a whole lot of them when I was a kid. I mean, my arcade experience consisted of Showbiz Pizza And when my sister would go to the skating rink and like she would skate around in circles with her dates or whatever, listen to Boys to Men, I'd be in the corner playing Mortal Kombat. So
Those showbiz games are great though. It's like people might think showbiz sounds kind of lame, but man, they had like top tier, they had RoboCop, man. That's where I played RoboCop. RoboCop doesn't seem like he fits with Chuck E. Cheese or showbiz, but he was there.
oh yeah.
Dude, every time I jumped in that ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese, I would get sick.
I was always too big for the ball pit. I don't know.
See, my mom would always say, Jason, don't you jump in that ball pit. You know what's going to happen. I'm like, but Mom, I want to go in the ball pit. And she's like, don't go in that ball pit. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm going, yeah, fuck it. I'm jumping in this ball pit.
Just imagine what's on the bottom of those things.
Oh God.
Dude, I didn't even hit the parking lot I was throwing up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, and now that I'm an uncle with 2 little kids, I can kind of get away with it. But if I won a whole lot of money, I would have a ball pit.
You know what I have? I have a perfect idea. You get it's not fully complete, but you get a trampoline, right? One of those ones with the nets on the side.
Oh my
Fill it
God.
up with balls, and then like I used to have a deck, and I asked my wife, I said, "Can I get a big trampoline with the net and a bunch of balls?" And, she said, "Yeah." She probably knew I wouldn't really do it, and I didn't quite figure how to get back out without all the balls falling out. But just man, I think that is so many guys' dream to have just a ball pit in to have a what we're talking about.
I think that's an amazing idea.
Don't take
actually.
it the wrong way.
No, not at all. Not at all. Seriously, like you said, man, if I had a bunch of money, I mean, I would pretty much put like the old, not this new Chuck E. Cheese shit with all the redemption games, right? I would make what it was in the late 80s and early 90s, like the play place, right? The play place with a ball pit and slides and little nooks and crannies you can go through and a legit arcade. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Dude, a trampoline. What an idea.
You know what I would do? I'd put one of those like hoses and do something where you have to strap yourself to the wall and someone just sprays you with a hose. That'd be awesome.
That just sounds mean.
Here,
That's
hang
what
out
I
on
would-
this wall.
That's what I'm doing.
Fun.
Just do it to your friends. Ah.
You're like, it's like borderline riot police right there, buddy.
Welcome to
it's
my
real-
play place. It's really a torture palace.
How would you know? It's
Yo, you guessed it.
yeah. It's like the police come in. We've had complaints about your play place. It's a torture palace.
Your friends are in the back just tied up.
Yeah, it's called Chucky's Cheese, like child's play. What are you talking about?
Lots of cookies for everybody.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated, and I still hate about those places, is the freaking tickets. You would go there and like you and your family, we would all get together, and we'd be like, all right, we're gonna get a lot of tickets. We would all be like playing games, and we'd all collect like what seemed to be like 400 tickets, and then we all turn them in, and it's like, what can I get with this? And you always wanted that cool kick-ass skateboard, or you wanted that like Nintendo console, or whatever it was, but you'd always end up with like plastic spiders.
And rubber balls.
Yeah.
Or yo-yos.
Yeah, the really bad yo-yos too.
Yeah, not even the good ones. They don't even spin or they don't do a shit. Yeah,
They don't even have string.
Right. You gotta buy your own string for
It's
those.
just a yo.
All I need to know is, have you ever gone into a ball pit and there's been a used condom or anything in those?
No, I've never done
There
that.
may have been. I was 7. I don't know what that was.
That's probably what was throwing up. You just go in there, see it, and like,
I
"Ugh."
did see one in the ocean one time though, but I mean, you can imagine. Look, if you got teenagers working there, man, at night, once the shift closed, there could somebody be getting down in the ball pit.
Yeah, he's probably banging his girlfriend in the ball pit.
It's
Like, honey, I think I could touch this lollipop. There's a lollipop at the bottom there. That's not a lollipop. That's a 5-year-old. And then they were arrested.
Dude, I'd get busy in a ball pit. I'm not gonna lie.
I know
Shoot.
you would.
Shoot.
I could just see you plastered in the news. Xander Scullion arrested. Get busy in Chuck E. Cheese.
Found nude in ball pit.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it, man.
Oh,
Especially if it's like James' idea with the freaking trampoline. Holy shit. But anyway, Anyway.
Yeah, about those racing games.
Yeah, racing games, guys. Let's bring back F-Zero. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Favorite F-Zero? Go.
I would have to say Super Nintendo. I mean,
Super NES, yeah.
yeah. Not gonna. I mean, I honestly I don't really remember too many of the other F-Zeros. Like
Oh, get the fuck out of here!
I know.
Come on.
Yeah, he's
Didn't
out to tell you to get the fuck out, Xander. Go on. See ya.
just
I
sign
played
out.
the GameCube one a little bit with my brother, but like I never had a GameCube, so it's like I didn't play that one as much. And I think just the most one I played was the Super NES one too, which is why I kind of leaned towards that.
I have to agree with James on that. That's true. Because the GameCube, I've never really played that much myself. It was like once I played a couple of the games, I kind of went over to the PS1.
We're all whack. We didn't play it.
No, it's cool. You know what? That's okay because I'm gonna give you guys a little homework assignment then. You guys didn't mention the Nintendo 64 version, so that means you have never played it, right?
I haven't. No, didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
If I did, I forgot about it.
So here's the thing. You know what? You guys sometime when you have a moment, if you have a friend that has it or feel like picking it up or whatever, take some time and play that version. It's called F-Zero X. It's for the Nintendo 64, and honestly, it's amazing. It's four. It could be up to 4 players, and their big claim to fame was, at that time Nintendo had really optimized their software for their console, so they were able to get 60 frames a second on even the 4-player split screen at 60 frames for everyone.
Oh my
So
God.
that game runs beautiful. You have to have the expansion in there though.
Yeah.
I got one of those.
So as long as you have that, it's amazing. The controls are nice and tight. The graphics are amazing. The sound is incredible. It's kind of got this almost edgy like rock / like metal type. Like they're really kind of pushing the envelope a bit, and it came out great. And then I remember playing the one for GameCube, and I honestly didn't really care for it. I thought it was too fast. I thought the controls were kind of screwed up.
That one was really, really hard, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know what it was? At the time, the learning curve was too steep for me. I was like, fuck this. If I can't drive it in the first couple of races, I don't want to play it. So until I actually took time to figure the controls out and learn it, the game is really, really good. But for me, it's all now I do pay respect to this, Super Nintendo version because that is the innovator and what an amazing game. But play the 64 port. That one right there is really, I think, the best F-Zero.
I'll definitely have to check that out because I'm pretty sure you can get it like a pretty good price now. Because I mean, like,
Yeah, it is. It's cheap.
yeah, I definitely have to check that out because, like I said, I knew they did something with F-Zero on the DD, the disk drive. Like, I remember I was watching Gamester 81 and he was talking about that they had like a track editor.
Yeah, actually, I've been over to his house and we played that together. It's F-Zero X. It's the, obviously the Japanese version of it, but it's basically like a track editor. You have you can create vehicles, you can create tracks, you can modify things, and then race on them. I mean, it's really, really cool. Yeah, I just wish that would have turned into something, but it's really neat.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I always really enjoyed like making tracks. Like that was one of the things I loved about Excite Bike. Me and my buddies would always just make all these different tracks, and after we'd get home from like school, we'd go to each other's house and be like, dude, you should play my track. Dude, play my track. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Have like a million freaking ramps, and like your bike couldn't even go because there was so many speed bumps. That was, oh man, that was fun. I really wish they'd bring stuff like that back, especially with like the online community. That'd be so cool. You can play like online custom tracks. That could also
That's it. Bring the Excite Bike back, man. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, that would be something else.
It's like James Gruesome should just have a poster of himself on Excite Bike saying, "We want you to bring it back."
We want you.
Should.
I would be a good advertiser for Excite Bike.
I think you would.
I think you're pretty exciting.
Spokesmodel.
James Gruesome, exciting for the Excite Bike.
I'm excited. Are you?
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean the racing games are great. I mean, were you guys? I was more of a fan of the arcadey racers. Like I never really got into like the simulation, like Gran Turismo. I really enjoyed the cop races, like Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, and stuff. I really like that.
No, I'm with you on that. For me, it was all about I liked the rush, cruising, ones that had a little bit more non-realism to them. Like, I never want to play a NASCAR game. Never. My brother would play one of those, and I'm like you just going in circles.
Oh, but
Like,
there is one NASCAR game that you should play, and that's it was actually like it was more arcadey. It was like a
is it a Dick
NASCAR.
Trickle game?
It was like NASCAR crash racing or something like that, but it was like it had you could get power-ups and you could like send like freaking tornadoes after your other race cars and stuff like that. I believe Kyla from I Got Gameplay, she was mentioning that game, Burhan, when we were talking about it was from a later episode, earlier episode.
Yeah, Kyla's a big fan, I think.
Yeah, that was a good game, and I mean that was on the PS1, and I think it's definitely pretty cheap. I mean it's a NASCAR game. I mean
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
scaring me with the NASCAR thing.
yeah,
Those are tough to get into for me.
yeah, me too. But I mean what I liked about that one was it was arcadey and it had like the power ups and stuff like that. So it grabbed my excitement because like I said I was never really big in the Gran Turismo and stuff like that. I like to That's what I liked about racing games. It was the same reason why I like shmups or shoot 'em ups. They're good games to just sit down and play for like 5 minutes, and then just put back down. Or if you want to spend like a whole night and drink like a 6 pack and play, you can do that too. It was not a whole lot of commitment. It was just playing a good video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially just fun. Like I know we love like the burnout. I love games where
Oh
you can crash out, and
man,
then like the
That was always a great game, Burnout.
and then when
Yeah.
they started doing the demolition mode, I can't remember the right name, where you just had to like set up the right rack and everything. I mean, that was just
Yeah, that was in Burnout
really
too.
fun.
Yeah, called
Yeah,
Crash. Yeah.
it was just something like you kind of always wanted to do in a game. But like good crashes, fun, arcadey. I'm definitely with you on that. That's just for me the way to go.
yeah. I mean, and with the technology now, like freaking Forza on the Xbox One, holy crap,
Yeah,
it's insane.
it is. But the one thing about that game, I don't like it because I played it, and it just doesn't move like a car game.
Really?
It feels too rough. It feels really rough. Everything looks nice. The aesthetics looks amazing. It just doesn't feel like a proper car game. It's like I like one where I can pick up the controller and immediately, like use the joystick to steer the car.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it on that at all.
Huh.
Got to work at it, huh?
Yeah, it's either I think it's because the pad's brand new, or the fact that I think the system itself just doesn't the mechanics of the cars themselves doesn't work as well. Or maybe it's because I played the demo and the actual game's probably miles better.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, it could be an issue. But yeah, I mean, it's funny like how freaking realistic it looks. I mean, we constantly talk about games and they're coming out, and we talk about, oh man, you should see the graphics on this, and it's almost like how much further can we get? Like, how much better can it get? Because I mean, like, it all looks real now.
In
And
a
I
way,
thought
I'm kind of like, how much better do we want it?
Yeah.
Like, I just want a game that plays good and controls good. Like, honestly, it's funny, James, you've been mentioning Rush. Like, the last couple weeks, I've done nothing but play Rush. I can't get enough of it.
nice.
Rush 2 on 64 is what I'm playing. I can't get
Yeah.
enough of it. And I'm like, the reason why we like stuff like that is because it just plays good.
Oh yeah.
The car has that nice arcadey feel. It plays good. It's solid. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, if it's so realistic now, I mean that's not a bad thing. But I just hopefully we
No.
don't sacrifice gameplay for the realism. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
I hope that there's a balance. We have to find that balance.
Well, a turd's a turd. I mean, even if it sparkles, it's still a turd, you
Yeah,
know?
can't polish that. Yeah.
It's so true. But before we end this show, we're gonna go into some of our plugs. So I'm gonna start with you, Michael Burhan. Tell us some of your where can we find some of your stuff, Mr. Burhan?
Okay, I have two channels. I have a Daily Motion channel now, which is dailymotion.com/nerd genius. And I'm also on YouTube, youtube.com/the nerd genius. I did a really big, powerful video today, something because I was feeling a little bit down quite recently over some events that happened this past week. It's about basically dealing with depression and how to just how to talk to people. So check that out, guys. I also do Let's Play videos. I'm currently doing the Ghostbusters Let's Play. And you can also check me every week on I Got Gameplay. It's myself, Xander Scullion, and a slew of other people on the show that we just basically talk games. And this week we're going to be talking Mario. I've got loads of other new projects coming out. Me and Xander have got a new untitled gaming project coming where that's going to be great. Movie Files returning. Check out for that. There's loads of stuff. So you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place, guys. Make sure that you hit me back.
All right, and what about you, Jason?
AllGenGamersPodcast.com is where you can find my weekly podcast. Also, youtube.com/the EMU Review is my YouTube channel. And I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary of independent music. I'm also a musician, so I do lots of music-related things. And
Oh
you can
yeah,
find all that, all my music's on iTunes and Amazon and Napster and Rhapsody and Spotify and wherever you listen to music, it's probably there. So you just go ahead and type in my name there. Just type the old name in Google. You're going to find all that sort of thing there. Jason Heine, Heine. But yeah, pleasure to be on the show, guys. Thanks for having me.
yeah, definitely. And you recently, not too long ago, put out a video game remixed album.
I did, absolutely. Yep, Video Game Remix Volume 1. It's a great little labor of love that I decided to do, and had some really cool people involved with it as well. Heavy Metal Hanzo on the cover art and back art. Mike Turner on guitars. We got lots of really cool things going on in there. So, but you can find that actually, and it's free, everybody. So if you want to check out some really cool video game remixes for free, it's on my Noise Trade page. So you can find that by going to noisetrade.com, and my artist page, which I believe it is Jason Heine /Jason Heine. So you can find that there and download for free. Tipping is encouraged, of course, but it is free for you. All I want is your little email address, and you get email updates when new releases come out.
Definitely, it's a fantastic album. I listen to it frequently. I love, speaking of Hydro Thunder, awesome remix of Hydro Thunder's on there, and also the Wii Weather. I mean, you did a remix of Wii Weather.
I did. Yep. There's Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2. There's Hydro Thunder. There's Animal Crossing. There's Wii Weather. Yeah. There's just Mega Man 2 is on there. Killer Instinct is on there. There's a lot of really cool things there. So if you're having here's the thing. If you're having a game night with your pals, you're hanging out, or you just want to just blare some cool video game stuff, just kick that on, let it rip. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely. And before we close the show, we're also going to talk about games we've been playing recently. I'm going to start with you, James. What have you been playing?
Well, I've kind of got onto a Wii kick lately, the original old Wii. With getting a Wii U, I have it upstairs in my game room on my big TV. So I'm kind of getting to re-experience some games on a much larger screen. So I've been playing a little bit of House of the Dead Overkill.
Overkill.
Definitely.
I love that game.
It's been a better experience playing it on the big screen, and I've been going around to some stores and finding some taking some chances on some games that are like $5 and under, and a couple ones I've been looking for, and I picked up this one game called Cursed Mountain. It was about $6. It's just kind of your survival horror, but it's just you and you're going up a mountain, and I just kind of like the the emptiness of it, and you're just kind of going up there alone, and there's some ghosts, and it's got lots of Buddhist things going on with it. But I've been enjoying it. It's got a little bit of motion controls, but nothing too aggravating yet. And I've been, once again, with the House of the Dead, I've been on a little bit of a light gun kick. So I was trying to find a few more, and I was watching looking up some videos, trying to find some good ones. I found one called Martian Panic, and it was one of those cheap ones that came with a gun attachment. But it's just a really fun, simple light gun style. And then I got Reload, which is the one I've been playing the most, and it has different targets, moving ones. Sometimes you're moving, the targets are. Kind of has a little bit of police trainer mode where there's a room full of stand-ups of hostages and enemies, and you have to shoot the right ones. Has a little bit of skeet shooting, and then there's a bunch of other levels on it too I hadn't unlocked yet, because it actually
I was waiting for Xander to just go, "Oh, skeet, 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 skeet."
No,
You lost.
I'm behaving.
You lost the moment, Xander. You lost the moment.
I'm behaving here.
But that one, and I've just been, I got a Transformers game actually for the Wii U, Transformers Prime. It was exclusive to it, and it just looked kind of cool. And I decided to pick it up, and it's based on a newer show, which I haven't seen, but it has enough familiarity to it where a lot of the characters, look kind of similar to how it was when I was a kid. And I've just kind of enjoyed playing that. It's got a little bit of transforming. It's just kind of like a walk around and, drive your vehicle and beat some other robots up. But yeah, that's been about the extent of it. Just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and working in the snow.
Yeah. What about you, Burhan?
What I'm playing at the moment? Not really playing anything much. I've been messing with Animal Crossing. I recently got that for my 3DS,
Oh man.
and when I've had the chance, I've been playing it. But I want to get into somebody else's town so I can actually,
You don't want to go to mine.
I want to steal I want to steal people's fruit and stuff so I can plant trees and then sell the shit to Tom Nook. I'm 10 grand, man. I'm 10 grand in the hole. Someone sort me out.
Such a great game. The game's
I think my
cracked.
town's like a cemetery now. I haven't been there in so long.
Fucking Tom Crook.
Yeah.
You tell me about it.
And his little kids.
Yeah. He's a
Everyone's taking
hustler,
a
though.
piece of me, man.
He's
He
a
is.
hustler.
Totally. He's like,
He's like-
oh, you just paid your mortgage? Would you like an extra basement?
Yo, you looking for a job? I got some shit I need done. I'm Tom Crook. He's always got something up his sleeve.
What about you, Jason?
I've actually been playing, like I mentioned before, I've been playing a lot of Rush recently, just taking me back to 96, 97. But more modern stuff, I've been playing a ton of Battlefield 4. I run a server now, so I've been doing that with the crew, which is great. And I've been playing quite a bit of Nether with Pete, actually. Him and I have been going through and playing some of that. That's a really, really good game. And I highly recommend it to everybody who's into that, horror, survival, PvP type of gameplay. Really, really good game, well polished. I believe it's an alpha still or beta, but it's early access. So it's $20. You pay for it, and you get to pretty much see the development all the way through. But really, really good game. Before that, I was playing a whole bunch of Rust, and that's a really great game too. And it's in alpha as well, early access. But if you compare the two, man, Nether really is quite a bit more polished than Rust at this point. Both great games, but I don't know, man. It's kind of a new style of gameplay for me. I'm not really used to this, PvP and you die once, it's over, you lose everything. It really puts it on a whole nother level for me. I'm kind of used to the whole okay, I'll just respawn. Okay, I'll just respawn, but it's not that. So it's really fun and exciting. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I was watching your guys' Let's Play, and oh my gosh, the whole thing, I was just cracking up. I mean, you guys were playing Rust, and it really made me want to play it. I'm like, man, this is really kind of some of the parts were like overwhelming, like when you run into people and you don't know if they're gonna like kill you or what's gonna go on. But
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, hey, we're friendly, we're friendly. You know, honestly, I don't trust anybody in that world. You really can't, because the second someone says, "Yeah, I'm friendly," and this and that, they'll just kill you and take all your shit. So you really got to be careful with that. And
I
that's what makes it exciting, yeah, in a way. I basically shoot on sight at this point. I don't give a fuck if someone's there and they're looking at me and they're like, "Hey," unless they give me something, like, "Hey, I'll give you this," and you can kind of tell. I don't know. Even that's fucked, because sometimes they'll be like, "Yeah, here, take this," and they kill me, take it all back. So
I mean,
Just
gotta be
kill them
careful.
all. DTA,
Really?
man. DTA.
Yeah, just kill them all, man. Rambo. That's all you got to do. So as long as you have that mentality, you'll have a great time in those games, and I'm really liking them.
yeah, the part that made me laugh the most is when you guys knocked at the guy's door and ran away, and and the part where you guys went to someone's house and the guy was just cooking chicken.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like Pete creeps through the window, like, "Who's in here?" And he's like, "Man, there's someone in here with no clothes on." I'm like, "Say what?" I'm like, "Get the fuck out of the way." I look through there. I'm like, "Damn, he's got no clothes on. He's in his pajamas, right?" So then there's a open door, and I'm like, "Hello, hello," and of course he's like, "Hi," you know, like this random dude, like in this world, right? This huge world, and we're all like, "Hey, well, how you doing? What's going on?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just trying to cook this chicken breast, just trying to figure it out, that's about it." And we're like, all right, this guy's just chilling by himself, not giving a shit. So we gave him some extra chicken. Pete gave him a few med packs, and we were on our way. And it was a really cool, like, transaction. Like, I felt like in real life, he's sitting in a log cabin like that somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Like cooking his chicken breast in real life. So, I just felt like, okay, this is cool. Like, I can get down with that. It was really neat.
But yeah, I definitely have to check that out. What I've been playing recently is I've been still trying to get all the green stars and Super Mario 3D World. Been playing that. I've been doing a little bit of Wii U online. I've been playing with my friend Amanda. Her YouTube channel is Power Level Amy. She does a lot of Let's Plays, and here's the thing. I want to set right here straight on the podcast. Amanda loves to post the videos that she wins. Because we were playing a lot of Wii U, bowling with the Wii Sports Pack. We were playing
Oh, love it.
bowling, and we were playing Sonic Transform Racing, and that's also a great
Ooh,
game.
very good game.
But yeah, like yeah, me and her will be playing. We'll play like 4 games. I'll win one, but she'll win 3. And yeah, she'll upload all those 3 races. She'll upload those on YouTube, but it's okay because I got a screenshot. I can take some pictures and put on the Excess Game Podcast group page and redeem
I can
myself.
call you out.
Yeah. I mean, like, no, you're not gonna make me look like this. I got a repetition. I got something I gotta uphold here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we've been playing that, and I got it Xenoblade Chronicles. I went ahead and dropped the dough and went ahead and got that. I found a copy for $50, and I haven't really been playing it too much because I'm trying to keep my gaming options open for Bravery Default that comes out next week. So for the 3DS, so I don't really want to play an RPG and get ready to play another RPG. That's just madness. I don't have the time for that. But anyway, if you guys are listening to this podcast on podomatic.com, keep in mind you guys can listen to us also on iTunes and also on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Xander Scullion. We upload the podcasts on there and also on retroandlimb.com. But I want to say to Michael Burhan and Jason Heine, thank you so much, guys, for being on the show and just, shooting some shit about some racing games.
Absolutely.
And ball pits.
And ball pits.
Dude, it's like my childhood, Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be on the show. I appreciate the invite, and best of luck to all you guys. You guys are awesome. Love being here.
Definitely. That's what
Thank you.
that's what we try to do. That's how we do it. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and thank you so much. And I hope you guys are staying warm wherever you guys are listening, because it's snowing here. And as always, happy gaming.
Have a pleasant evening, everybody.